really used, experienced, not only spoken about. We
Julie,
have heard about it for years and years, and I have been pathway ambassador and didn't know much about it, other than a video interview, which was very interesting. This Svetlana and Lauren there, from the creator of Pathway. And then suddenly I heard that it was not only me, but Brian also, who wanted very much to get into Pathway. And he was the one who the first found not only how we wait for the pathway, but how we go to the pathway. So, Brian, I would like first to ask you to tell us about how you experienced yourself, the waiting, and then the reality of pathway.
I'd been studying the pathways, or before that, the revised education program before they named it. Oh, even before they announced it at the convention in Kuala Lumpur. And that actually made a slideshow, which turns out that was about 90% correct, and the information that I found when I did become a member of Great Communicators in Washington. How did I find that? I actually went on to Toastmasters International's Facebook and asked for a club that was in Pathways. And I got a reply from Nathan. And then I told Julie, and Julie actually signed up for the club before I did. But we now have 3 online members in that club, 3 people from the online community, plus they have 2 other people that are ex-members in different locations, and 1 other person who, I don't know how he found it, but maybe through what we were saying. I find it a bit frustrating. I find it rewarding and frustrating at the same time. Rewarding in the fact that Pathways is giving you a new kind of freedom to, for example, redo a speech over and over again. And I mean, if you want to be a professional speaker, you don't give this different speech every time you go and do a presentation. You give the same speech, whereas our Rick Lindahl does. He takes little pieces out of different speeches and remixes them for his delivery. Very effective. He uses the right piece of some other part that it might have been a full speech, but he just uses a small part. The frustrating part is the interface between you, the member, and the website. We are working on it. Some of us are giving feedback. My feedback goes actually all the way to the Dan Rex himself, so to get attention to some of these problems that they're having. But don't let that deter you, because we have somebody that's in this meeting that is an expert at leading you through if you have any problems. For those of you who want to, Region 14, which is the Philippines and Malaysia, I believe, I don't know, Aaron would probably know better. They have come online, and you can actually join a club in the Philippines or Malaysia, if you know somebody there, and just do a request like I did for a club. I know Zaldi is running a club there in the Philippines. I believe Julie goes to the meetings. So ask Julie if you want to join a club in the Philippines.
Yeah, Emperor.
Yeah. So I encourage everybody to get a head start, join a club, and get your feet wet. It doesn't matter how many presentations you get, you do not understand it until you do it. Thank you, Julie.
I would like to speak a little bit about my vision. I am in a last level now of visionary communication, and one of my tasks is to speak about the beginning of my vision. And I begin to think how my vision arrived. And in fact, I begin level 1 speaking about myself, how I arrived in Toastmaster and how I was looking for a man and still didn't find it. And then I begin to realize that it was Eastern, Sunday Eastern. Sunday Eastern was a very special time for me, a transformation, a transition period in my life. At age 25, I didn't lose anything because you don't lose your virginity. You gain to be a young woman finally. But I did lose a lot when I was 25. I lost my job. I lost the possibility to learn, to study. And so it was a really big transition period. And when it came to the next speech, the research, I decided to research transition, but together with pathway, because we are in a big transition period of Toastmaster International. And I found this book, Managing Transition, by William Bridge. And he explains that, I think I even spoke about it once here, and he explained that when there is a transition, a company has to tell about it very early and not wait and not tell that is not the time, later I will tell, and so on. So then is finally when my vision began, and I realized I really want to help the transition to go better, smoother, faster, in different ways. And of course, at level 3, we had to make a blog. And then I decided I will begin a blog about pathway. And the pathway experience blog was born. For that project, I have to make only 8 posts. And now I am about more than 100 posts and more than 9,000 people who come and read every day, every morning. I tell something about pathways. But then I thought it's not enough. I wanted more. I would like perhaps to make a Facebook group, question and answer, but that was too much problem. And also I found out that Matthew, with whom I thought eventually to begin it, in fact doesn't like pathways. I don't know why. He hurried, he tells about it a lot, and then he tells, he took now a step back from it. So I decided to just open the discussion in the main Toastmaster members group and not make a special Facebook. But besides continuing my blog and speaking about it, should I do something to make the interface better. Finally, I decided I can tell, I can write about it, I can tell how you go through it, how you can use it anyway, like it is. But it is not my job. My job is to make it known better. And during the convention, Friday, we will have a 20-minute panel about pathway. So that is another thing I will try to do to make my vision of making known better and faster pathway. And another one will be, besides continuing the blog day by day, helping together with Brian and Matthew and others, those who want to go to Pathway, to help them find a club, a remote club, that can take them before the Pathway arrives to them. So that are, for the moment, my first steps are taken, and that I will take for my vision to come true. I don't know how much I have spoken. I can tell a little bit more about Pathway if you want, if I have time, but I didn't see.
No, we should move on to the
Okay.
To the question and answer.
I finished. I had not seen any.
Sorry about that.
Yellow or red card.
So we have 10 minutes now for a question.